The topic, why the Gospel of Judas was banned, is a subject of various controversies. The main reason its ban is, of course, its divergence from the official Christian story, but there were other more important reasons, of which more later. To cover the subject of the Apocrypha in detail, let's look at a few key aspects, including the content of the Gospel of Judas, its history, the reasons for the ban, and the consequences of that decision. Discovery of the Judas Bible. The Judas Bible, also known as the Gospel of Judas, was first discovered in the 1970s in Egypt. The document, written in Coptic, is believed to date from the 3rd or 4th centuries AD. The main content of this text is a conversation between Jesus Christ and Judas Iscariot, in which Judas is portrayed in a more favorable light than in traditional Bibles, than in traditional biblical texts. The Gospel of Judas gained widespread popularity after the National Geographical Society announced its recovery and translation in 2006. These studies have provided a closer look at its content and historical significance. Content of the Gospel of Judas. The Gospel of Judas is one of the Gnostic texts found at Nag Hammadi in Egypt in the 1970s. This text, dating from around the 3rd century AD, is a dialogue between Jesus Christ and his disciple Judas Iscariot. Unlike the traditional Gospels, Gospel of Judas portrays Judas not as a traitor, but as a key figure in the religious drama, who fulfills Jesus' will to help him rid himself of his physical body and to free his spirit. The text presents a Gnostic cosmology in which the world is not created by an omnipotent God, but by a lesser, underscaled demiurge God who created the material world and prevents the spiritual awakening of humans. According to the Gospel of Judas, Jesus tells Judas about higher spiritual knowledge and revelations that will set him free from the material world and lead him to salvation. History and reasons for the ban. After the discovery of Nag Hammadi, the Gospel of Judas aroused great interest among scholars and believers. However, most Christian churches rejected it as heretical and unholy. So why was the Gospel of Judas banned? There are several reasons. 1. Gnostic teachings. Gnosticism, based on the Greek word gnosis, knowledge, claimed that salvation is achieved through understanding the truth and liberation from the material world. Gnostic texts, including the Gospel of Judas, presented a praise of knowledge and spiritual enlightenment, which was at odds with the official doctrines of the Church based on faith, charity, and repentance. For early Christian leaders, this was not only heretical, but also potentially destructive to the unity of believers. 2. Judas as a central character. In the Gospel of Judas, Judas Iscariot appears as a key disciple of Jesus who fulfills his will by betraying him to the Roman authorities to free the Jesus spirit from the flesh. This is very different from the traditional view of Judas as a traitor, which may have provoked negative reactions among believers and church leaders who had become accustomed to the traditional view of him. 3. Danger to the unity of the church. The introduction of Gnostic texts, including the Gospel of Judas, into the Christian canon could lead to negative reactions among believers and church leaders who had become accustomed to the traditional view of him. Christian canon could lead to schism and division in the Christian community. While the Gnostic community claimed to have special knowledge and understanding of Jesus' teachings, this could have created disputes over whose understanding was true. Therefore, the leaders of the church chose to suppress these texts in order to preserve the unity of the faith and the identity of the church. Consequences of the ban. The banning of the Gospel of Judas and other Gnostic texts resulted in their loss for many centuries. They were forgotten and silenced, while the traditional Gospels and dogmas became the defining for the Christian faith. In recent decades, however, interest in Gnostic texts has increased among scholars and believers, and their study has become more accessible thanks to modern means of communication and scholarly research. Conclusion. In summary, the Gospel of Judas was banned because of its Gnostic teachings, its unusual presentation of Judas, and concern for the unity of the Christian church. The banning of this text and other Gnostic writings left them in the shadow of traditional Christian canons, but recent interest in them has increased in recent years, opening up new avenues for understanding the diversity of early Christian teachings and beliefs.
What do you think about this? Leave your opinion in the comment.